Good morning. Happy New Year. Shall we sing? Please stand and join me in song. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. Please greet each other with a sign of peace. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. We come together. We come together. In the name
Happy New Year! I'm David Howard, Senior Minister here. It's so glad to have you with us this morning, whether you're here in our sanctuary or you're joining us online. And we're so glad to have Stephanie Chang with us this morning as our musical inspiration, as always. So glad you made the trek out on those icy roads to be here today with us. So let's see. Announcements. A few things I want to share with you. One, we usually have our contemplative service on the first Wednesday, but we will not be doing that this coming week. Immediately following our service today, if you're watching online, we do have Natalie Simons, our Youth and Family Ministry Director, does these wonderful lessons. You know, they're supposed to be for children, but they're really for the child in all of us, or for all of us to awaken to who we are. Really is what they're about. So even though you may not have children at home, watch them anyway. You may learn something. Also, we had a vision board workshop scheduled with Deb Roth, was supposed to happen this coming Saturday. She has, because of various reasons that you all probably know about, she has canceled that workshop. She will be doing an online vision board workshop on January 22nd. So if you'd like to join that or want more information about that, go to her website, summitlifecoaching.net. All of this is in your handout now that we're starting back doing bulletins. Also, beginning a week from Tuesday, on the 11th, I will be facilitating a study of Eric Butterworth's book, Spiritual Economics. If you're not familiar with Butterworth, if you're not familiar with spiritual economics, I just encourage you to explore that. He is an excellent writer, excellent teacher about metaphysics, about unity principles, and about the principle of prosperity. So I invite you to sign up for that on our website. Also coming up is the Women's Red Tent Women's Circle event. That is coming up on Saturday, January 15th from 1 to 4 p.m., and Heidi Whitehead will be facilitating that, about setting intentions for yourself and also for the community that is gathering around these women's events. I've heard they're very powerful. So if you are a woman or someone who identifies with feminine energy, you are welcome to be a part of that group and those events. And starting on the 15th, January 15th, that's the same date, in the morning from 10 to 11:30, our associate minister, Trish Morris, and Shireen Fink, Shireen Hill, some of you know from our community, will be facilitating another round of the affinity groups, a race-based affinities group, which is a study of, foundation is a study of Debbie Irving's book, Waking Up White. What happens in those sessions, they're all online through Zoom. There will be a little bit of a lesson about some topic, and then you'll go deeper into small groups and discussions. And those of you who have participated in that can probably attest to, I know I participated in those groups when we first started them. And it is a powerful learning experience, learning about what it's like as a white person to be involved in this culture of systemic racism, and it's a very enlightening experience. So if you're interested in that, I invite you to participate in that as well. And I think that's all of the announcements for today. So I invite you to join me as we say our creed, which is, our God is love, our race is human, our faith is oneness. And as we go into our service today, I want to invite you to just open yourself, take a breath, as we listen to the tone of this crystal bowl. It's the tone of F tuned to the heart chakra. So as you listen to this, I invite you to breathe into your heart. Allow your heart space to open wide as you enter into this time together, this consciousness of love and light.
Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place.
So I invite you, if your eyes are not already closed, to close your eyes to the outer for a moment. And as you close your outer eyes, I invite you to open to the inner vision, the vision of your soul, of your spirit. And I invite you now to imagine that you are looking with those eyes, the eyes of spirit, that you are looking at yourself, looking at yourself reflected back to you. And you see that beauty. You see the light. You see the Christ. And you truly say, I see. The glory on that face. I see the face of God. As you witness your own light, your own truth, your own divine essence, feel that resonating deep into your heart, claiming who and what you truly are beyond any idea or concept in the outer. Truly, the presence of love, truly the presence of light is in this face, in this place right now. And in that awareness, use that vision to see that truth for all people. We use that awareness, that vision, that consciousness to perceive our brothers, our sisters, those who may be experiencing some life challenge, some disruption, some dis-ease in their own lives. Together we especially hold those who were affected by the fires a few days ago, not far from where we are right now. We hold them in our hearts as they grieve their loss. We hold all who are feeling pain and worry and fear. In the light of truth, the light of love, we see the light in each and every one and know it is that light that sees us through all of life's challenges and opportunities. And we are grateful for that knowing and for our willingness to see it and to be it. And so it is. Amen. I want to share with you a reading from one of my favorite writers, Mark Nepo. I've shared some of his pieces before. This comes from the Book of Awakening, and it's actually the writing from January 3rd. The title of it is Unlearning Back to God. And he quotes Helen Luke. The coming to consciousness is not a discovery of some new thing. It is a long and painful return to that which has always been. Each person is born with an unencumbered spot, free of expectation and regret, free of ambition and embarrassment, free of fear and worry, an umbilical spot of grace where we were each first touched by God. It is this spot of grace that issues peace. Psychologists call this spot the psyche. Theologians call it the soul. Jung calls it the seat of the unconscious. Hindu masters call it Atman. Buddhists call it Dharma. Rilke calls it inwardness. Sufis call it Qalb. And Jesus calls it the center of our love. To know this spot of inwardness is to know who we are. Not by surface markers of identity, not by where we work or what we wear or how we like to be addressed, but by feeling our place in relation to the infinite and by inhabiting it. This is a hard, lifelong task, for the nature of becoming is a constant filming over of where we begin, while the nature of being is a constant erosion of what is not essential. Each of us lives in the midst of this ongoing tension, growing tarnished or covered over, only to be worn back to that incorruptible spot of grace at our core. When the film is worn through, we have moments of enlightenment, moments of wholeness, moments of satori, as the Zen sages term it. Moments of clear living when inner meets outer, moments of full integrity of being, moments of complete oneness. And whether the film is a veil of culture, of memory, of mental or religious training, of trauma or sophistication, the removal of that film and the restoration of that timeless spot of grace is the goal of all therapy and all education, and I would add should be the goal of all religion. Regardless of subject matter, this is the only thing worth teaching: how to uncover that original center and how to live there once it is restored. We call that filming over a deadening of heart, and the process of return, whether brought about through suffering or love, is how we unlearn our way back to God. So as we begin a new year, I invite us to recall that our life journey is a journey of remembering our way back to our truth, back to God, back to our source, and uncovering, letting go of all that we allow to film over that awareness.
I am called to be a healer for all humanity. I am called to be a dreamer, to believe in what can be. I am called to be a maker, be an instrument of peace. I am called to be a giver, of abundance I receive. I am called to be a prayer, living out the truth I seek. I am called to be everything I am called to be. Called to be the glory here on earth so all might see all the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. I am the living, breathing God, and you are one. mother to nurture family. You are called to be a brother, be strength in times of need. You are called to be a neighbor, see a friend in all you meet. You are called to be a leader, to build community. You are called to be a prayer, living out the truth you seek. You are called to be everything. You are called to be the glory here on earth, so all might see all the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. You are the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. We're called to be. We are called to be the kindness, set the brokenhearted free. We are called to be forgiveness, where pain has run too deep. We are called to be compassion, be the wind beneath each wing. We are called to make communion, only then can we succeed. We are called to be a prayer, living out the truth we seek. We are called to be everything. We are called to be the glory here on earth, so all might see all the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. We are the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. We're called to be peace, called to be joy, called to be love, called to be free, called to be peace, called to be joy. We're called to be joy, called to be peace, called to be love. We're called to be. We're called to be.
Thank you, Stephanie. So we will be participating in our white stone ceremony for those of you who are in the sanctuary. If you did not get a stone and a marker when you walked in, I would just invite you to do that some point soon. Those of you who are tuning in online, if you have a rock or a stone that you might want to use for this ceremony, I invite you to take an opportunity to gather that now. If you don't have something like that, a stone or something that you want to do, what we're going to be doing is capturing a word or a phrase to take into the new year. You can use a Post-it note that you can keep somewhere, or anything that you can write on that you would want to keep for yourself during the year to remind you. Before we do that, I want to share something with you that I've just recently become aware of and have been working with it myself and moving through it. And it's from the Hindu tradition. And what we know it as in the West is the four desires, or the four aims of life. And each of these four aims of life are aspects of our human journey. They are pursuits in different areas of our lives that are essential when we think about our human journey. In the Sanskrit, they are called Purusartha. I think I say that right, Purusartha, which means an endeavor, a human endeavor, worthy endeavor. And there are 4 areas that are considered in that. And they're called artha, kama, dharma, and moksha. I'm going to talk a little bit about each of them because I think they've been important for me. And as I am looking at the new year, and very often, again, there's nothing magical about moving the calendar from December 31st to January 1st, but there's something in our culture, in our consciousness that makes it this time of possibility, a new year, a new opportunity, new possibility. And so there's something about our consciousness that says, yes, I can let go of what happened last year and open up to something new for 2022. And so as we approach that, as we're in that now, I know many of us don't do resolutions anymore. I don't do resolutions anymore. I found that I didn't ever keep them, so why make them? But I do think it's valuable for us to set intentions for our lives. What do we intend? And I think what we do when we set a clear intention is that I've used this before. It's like tuning your radio dial, a radio station, to a radio frequency. And we turn our brains or our thoughts to a frequency. And when we turn our thoughts and brains and feelings and our self, our I am, to that frequency, then what happens is that the universe responds to that frequency. The things that match that frequency of our intention are what are drawn into our experience. And then we get to be the ones to open ourselves to the awareness of how that's showing up, to celebrate how it shows up in our lives. But it's important for us to be alert and aware of, oh, that is a match to my intention. But it's also important for us to not just set an intention and forget about it, but to be reminding ourselves, what is my intention for this particular area of my life? So, as I said, this has been enlightening for me, and I've been working with my own intentions in these 4 different areas. And I'll start with artha. It's A-R-T-H-A. And what that is really about livelihood. That we and these human experiences have the opportunity to connect with this idea of prosperity, this idea of universal abundance, and we get to bring that energy through our life experience in different ways. But sometimes I think in our spiritual teaching, trying to be spiritual or above it all, we sometimes get the idea, and we may, and I think spiritual economics helps us understand that, but we may get this idea that money or the pursuit of money or having money is not spiritual. But what the Hindu tradition teaches is what we also teach, I believe, even though we may sometimes miss the mark, is that money is really, as I love Jim Llewellyn, who's one of our co-leaders of our prosperity team, calls it green energy. It's just energy. It's energy that we can connect with, energy that we exchange our life energy for in different ways. And we open ourselves up to the flow of that energy. And we do that not only to meet our own needs, because that's important too. It's an important piece of this that I've really, in all of my years, I've really now just becoming more aware of how that is an important piece of self-care. Caring for ourselves in these human bodies, these human experiences. To allow ourselves to connect with abundance, to connect with prosperity. And again, not just for ourselves, but when we become these open channels, these open vessels, as we connect with the abundance of the universe, allowing that energy to flow through us, we not only meet our own needs, but in that flow, we get to help others. That flow goes out from us to share, to give, to encourage, to inspire other people, those who might not yet have this understanding. So this aspect of life that I think sometimes we put on the back burner in our efforts, in our spiritual pursuits or other pursuits, I think it's important for us to bring that forward. To recognize that this is a part of this human experience and to honor it. To know it's a part of our inheritance, that we are heirs to all the good that the universe has. And to set a clear intention for that. And the intention could be, I'm choosing to connect consciously with the abundance of the universe. And I'm going to be aware of how the universe responds to that. And then with that intention, then you can set some goals around that. But don't forget that is an essential part of this life journey. Another piece of that, or aspect of this 4 aims, is Kama, K-A-M-A. And that is about the enjoyment of life. I think sometimes if we focus too much on the artha piece of our lives, on making money and having things and doing things, that we can sacrifice that piece of our journey that in Hindu tradition is called kama. It's enjoyment of life, finding the pleasure in life. Knowing that we are not here to suffer, we are not here to have a difficult time of it. I believe we are here to enjoy life. That when we recognize the truth of us, the light of us, again, it says in Scripture that your joy may be full. I come that your joy may be full. And so I think about, I was watching, we had the photos with Santa a few weeks ago on Saturday morning, and I wasn't here during the photo session. I came over to help a little bit beforehand, but I was watching out my window, which is right next door, as some of the kids were arriving. And it was thrilling to connect with that childlike joy and anticipation that they had. They knew they were going to see Santa. How many of us allow ourselves to experience that kind of joy in our lives? I know I don't do that very often. But imagine approaching life from that perspective. These kids, I saw this one little girl get out of her car. She was holding her dad's hand, and she was just skipping along. Oh my gosh, she was having such a good time. When is the last time you skipped? When is the last time you allowed yourself to just feel that childlike joy and pleasure and delight? What do you find delight in? Don't deprive yourself of that. I talked to a friend not long ago, and I was talking about some of the stuff that was going on, some of the heavier stuff going on in my own mind. And she said, when is the last time you sang? right? When is the last time you allowed yourself to sing? When is the last time you allowed yourself to just put on some music and dance? I'm encouraging us to set a clear intention for ourselves this year to not let that part of our life experience go. Because it is a part of our spirit, our soul, that longs to experience life, to enjoy this life. Don't you agree that we're not here to struggle? Yes, there are struggles in life. But can we find the joy in it as well? Embrace that childlike innocence and curiosity and excitement for life. So that from the Hindu tradition is the kama. And then there's what they call the dharma, which is your sacred offering, your gift, your talent. As the song was saying, you're called to be. What are you called to be? Not necessarily what are you called to do, but what are you called to be? What are you called in your heart, in your soul, in the very essence of your beingness to be? I love this song because it talks about you're called to be love, you're called to be joy, you're called to be peace, you're called to be a healer. You're called to be everything that you are called to be, and you are uniquely called to be. It doesn't mean that you're called to be the savior of the world, that you're called to cure cancer, that you're called to write the great American novel or paint a masterpiece. Sure, there are people that are called to do that. But maybe you're called to show kindness. Maybe you're called to give of your own good. Maybe you are called to just be present with someone. I was rereading yesterday one of my favorite books by Wayne Muller, How Then Shall We Live? I've talked about that before. And now I can't find what I wanted to read, of course. Well, I guess it wasn't important because I can't find it now. But he talks in the book about that very thing, about how sometimes we will connect with our gifts and talents, and that we will share our gifts and talents or give of our gifts and talents for our own ego, to boost our ego or for our own personal gain. And of course, that's part of our humanness as well. But he talks about how when we can connect with our gifts and talents and just give it freely, that is what we're talking about when we talk about the foundational teaching of the Hindu tradition and Dharma. It's just being who you are called to be, connecting with your gifts and talents and using them. I've talked about this not long ago as well. But I want to, it wasn't in our announcements, but I think it is in our handout that Shireen Hill, I'm not sure it is, or Shireen Hill will be doing a workshop at the end of February that she helped to create around getting to know ourselves and our gifts and talents, and then using how we might use those gifts and talents. So if you think you don't have any, you're wrong. But if you would like to do something to help discover that for yourself, then check that out. Because like I said, we all have those gifts and talents that we are here to share. And then the last part of that 4 aims is moksha, which is about self-realization and enlightenment and our own spiritual growth. So as we look at setting intentions for ourselves as we come into this new year. What intention would we want to set for ourselves around our own spiritual growth and enlightenment? And what I believe about this idea of enlightenment gets to be, very often can become this goal of the ego. This goal that we're trying to reach. Somehow, somewhere in the future, I'm going to attain enlightenment. But what I've come to believe about that is that enlightenment is not a destination. That it's not somewhere to get to. That enlightenment really for us means every moment that we come into awareness, conscious awareness of the light that we are, and take action to live that light, that is enlightenment. When we recognize and realize our unity with the divine and with each other. To be enlightened. That's what it means to be enlightened. But enlightenment is what we do with that. So how do we want to move forward this year? What intention do we want to set for ourselves around that enlightenment? To be consciously aware of our unity as much as we possibly can. To do what we need to do to be conscious of that unity on an ongoing basis every moment of the day. Prayer and meditation and contemplation and study and reflection and all of the ways that we connect with that divine presence. So again, as we look at this idea of the four desires or the four aims of life, it's important for us to recognize that they are all aspects of this human journey. And that we have the opportunity to set intentions in all four areas. And to be aware of all four areas. That they're not separate and apart from each other. They're like that Venn diagram that we've seen recently about our mission. They all are interrelated. And when we deny ourselves any one area of those areas, we miss out on our wholeness. Our wholeness, our experience of being whole in this human experience. So as we do the white stone ceremony, I'll talk a little bit more about that, but I encourage you to think about it from that perspective. Where might all of those come together? Artha being the pursuit of the connection of abundance and prosperity, and how do I do that? And how might I experience that in my life? And Kama being that enjoyment, the delight of life. What might I intend for my life in that aspect? And then Dharma is that expression, your sacred offering to the world. What is your gift? As Wayne Muller says, what is your gift to the family of the earth? And then moksha is that, really it's about liberation, freedom, about knowing who you are, connecting with that, realizing the self. As I thought about that this week for myself, I thought about it as being aware of when I am connected and acting from my conditioned self, which is what Mark Nepo was speaking about, as opposed to being connected to and acting from my unconditioned self. I use that terminology because I find for myself, and maybe you experience this as well, when I call it the ego or when I call it the false self and the true self, that doesn't feel good. There's something about that I just don't resonate with anymore. So I like that terminology of there is this conditioned self, and there's an unconditioned self. What am I connected to? And from what perspective am I acting, thinking, speaking? And for me, that's what this idea of moksha is about. So, as I said, that was helpful for me, and I hope maybe those ideas might be helpful for you as you move into this new year. So I'm assuming that everyone has their white stone in the sanctuary. I'm hoping those of you who are tuned in online have something that you might use. And I didn't say a marker as well. You will need a marker or a pen or something, so hopefully you got that as well. So the white stone ceremony, as we know it, really in Unity churches began many years ago, and I think in the 1980s with a Unity minister. But it came from an ancient ritual, really. In Scripture, there is the idea that when someone had overcome, or someone had been imprisoned and was set free, someone was liberated, someone was found innocent, then they were given a white stone. And that white stone was a symbol of a new beginning, a fresh start, a new place to envision from, or a new place to live from. And then in Revelation, in the Revelation of John, it's in chapter 2:17, the voice of the Christ that John is hearing says, "To him who overcomes, I will give some of the hidden manna to eat, and I will give him a white stone, and on the stone a new name written, which no one knows except one who receives it." And so the significance again of the white stone is to one who overcomes. What is there to overcome for us? It's really to overcome our own beliefs of lack and limitation, our own beliefs of not enough, of less than, our own beliefs that many of us did a process on New Year's Eve, the burning bowl, the dissolving paper to let go of. So it's a symbol of what we have overcome, or what we are willing to overcome. And the new name that is written on the stone is a quality or an aspect of your divine self. And the nature, name is the nature. So what is that nature, that aspect, the quality of the divine that you might choose to take into this new year and set a clear intention around, to awaken more fully to embrace as an aspect of who you are, of who your unconditioned self is, and to make a commitment to yourself to live that, to your highest and greatest ability. So a clean slate, the white stone. And the white stones that you have here in the sanctuary come from Israel, from the Hebron area of Israel. And just, again, everything is energy. So as you hold that stone in your hand, I invite you just to feel the energy. The stone, that energy of where it came from, and just the energy of the earth, the stone that represents our Mother Earth, the stability. And also as you hold that stone in your hand, I invite you to allow that stone to be for you that clean slate, that new beginning, a symbol of your overcoming. And if you're watching online, whatever it is that you are holding, I invite you to allow that to be your symbol. So as we go within, take a breath. Breathe into that center in your heart. And connect there with that light of your divine self, your unconditioned self. And hear the voice of that self saying to you, to the one who overcomes, one who is willing to overcome, I will give manna to eat, and I will give a white stone as a symbol of that new beginning. And upon that stone I will write a new name, a new nature, a new quality that no one else knows or no one else need to know except the one who receives it. And as you listen to that voice, open yourself to connecting with your own intention around your creating or opening to prosperity. Connect with your own intention around enjoying life, delighting in creation. Connect with your own intention around your own spiritual gifts and talents, and how you might want to share those. And connect with your own intention around enlightenment, living from the unconditioned self. And open to the feeling nature that arises within you, a word, a concept, trust that you receive directly from your inner knower. That which you are to focus on this year, this period of time. And when you receive that, just take the opportunity to write it on the stone. And also recognize that the stone has more than one side. So You can have more than one word. You can have more than one intention or quality. What is the name or nature that you want to embrace this year? Just take a moment to continue to breathe into that. And also, don't stress about it. Don't force it. Don't worry if nothing is clear for you. As you open yourself, it will come. Maybe not right now. It may come in your sleep. It may come tomorrow morning. Just open and allow it. And embrace it. And for those of you who did receive something and write it on your stone, or for those of you online on a piece of paper, hold that in your hands now. And if you didn't receive anything, hold in your hands your intention to open to receive. And feel into the energy of that word or words. How does connecting with the energy that is expressed by that word or words, how does it feel in your heart as you connect with that? How does it feel in your solar plexus, in your gut, to own that, to claim that? How does it feel in your body, in your cells, as you open yourself to the embodiment, the expression of the energy of that idea, that word, that name? Can you own it? Can you claim it for yourself? Can you know that it is you, ready to be lived, ready to be felt, ready to be shared? And as you breathe that in, breathe it down through the bottom of your feet. Feel it in the bottom of your feet, grounding that energy right here, right now, into manifestation. As you allow that energy to be affirmed right here, right now. I am that. And as you open to the awareness of that, I invite you, as you move out into this day and this year, to be aware, knowing that you have set a clear intention, to be aware of how the universe is showing up, where it is showing up, and through other people, through the experiences that you have. Don't miss out on how the universe is here to support you in fulfilling your intention. So breathe that energy back up into your heart and out from your heart into the universe. And we claim it. And together we say, and so it is. And so it is. Amen.
I am free. I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free. I am unlimited right now. Right now. I am free. I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free. I am unlimited right now. Right now. I am free. I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free. I am unlimited right now. Right now. I am free. I am unlimited. There are no chains that bind me. I am free. I am unlimited right now. Right now.
Hello, I'm Nancy Smith, treasurer on the council and co-leader of the Prosperity Team, along with Jim Llewellyn. So on behalf of David, Trish, the staff, the council, Jim and I, we thank you for your generosity. A couple of weeks ago, Jim talked about learning to be a giver, and we know we are a giving community. We've helped the homeless, veterans, children, and others. And we'll hear more about that at the annual meeting next month, as well as the impact that COVID has had on some of our income streams and expenses. But as part of the Prosperity Team, we acknowledge that financial abundance is not everything that prosperity includes. But by the same token, we're not reluctant to say that financial abundance is important to this center's future. And we know that we can use money for good, as David talked about. So we intend to use our financial resources to provide loving service in the world, to create more opportunities in our community. And we know that we can do that. As David has said, Unity has such a strong message of love and healing, and the world needs us and our message right now. So for many of us, including for the center, 2020 as well as 21 was a matter of surviving. But this is a new year, and we intend not just to survive, but to thrive. And I know that we can do that. So part of that, we're creating a special fund that we're calling our Energy Expansion Fund, or Growth 2022. We want to provide some seed money for the special initiatives and the teams that we have going. So we've got some exciting things planned for 2022, and we want to get started on it now. We didn't want to wait until late second quarter or third quarter to start our fundraising efforts. We promise to keep you posted on how much we collect and what that money's used for. Our goal is to increase our income by at least 22% in 2022. This would be in addition to your regular giving, but we hope that you're willing to give whatever you can, whether it's $22 a week, $2 a month, $2 a week, maybe it's even $200, who knows. So we're confident that you will do what you are led to give, and just know that every little bit helps. So we're very pleased to say that we have a pledge of 2022 to start our fund, and we want to use that fund for whatever's needed. It may be marketing, it may be to increase our social media presence, it may be to start some space renovation, or some need identified by the Social Action Committee. So conventional wisdom says that normally in January, giving kind of tapers down. And we want to say we're not defined by history. We know what our future can be. So I hope you'll join me in giving whatever you can on a weekly basis this week and the weeks to come to really move energy, create more opportunities to answer the call. So we don't have the fund set up in push pay right now, but you can give it to the general fund and just send Trish a note that I want this amount to go to the Energy Expansion Fund, Growth 2022. So thank you so much for your support.
Thank you, Nancy. So I invite you now to join me as we say our offertory blessing. I know those of you who are watching, there are ways for you to give online. And those of you who are in our sanctuary, I know many of you give online already, and we so appreciate that. But if you're giving a gift today, there are baskets in the back as you leave. So let's say together our offertory blessing. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am thankful.
Didn't I tell you I hear what you say? Never look back as you're walking away. Carry the music, the memories, and keep them inside you. Laugh every day. Don't stop those tears from falling down. This is who I am inside. This is who I am. I'm not gonna hide. 'Cause the greatest risk we'll ever take is by far to stand in the light and be seen as we are. So stand in the light and be seen as we are. Courage and kindness, hold on to your faith. You get what you get, and it's never too late to reach for the branch and climb up, leaving sadness behind you. Fight hard for love. We can never give enough. This is who I am. This is who I am. I'm not gonna hide. 'Cause the greatest risk we'll ever take is by far to stand in the light and be seen as we are. So stand in the light and be seen as we are. Riding the storms that come raging toward us, we dive. Surface with arms open wide, arms open wide. This is who I am inside. This is who I am. I'm not gonna hide. 'Cause the greatest risk we'll ever take is by far to stand in the light and be seen as we are. So stand in the light and be seen as we are. Oh, 'cause the greatest risk we'll ever take is by far to stand in the light and be seen as we are. So stand in your light and be seen as you are. We stand in the light and be seen as we are.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, band. Thank you for being here. We love you. Bless you. So I invite you to stand now as we say our closing prayer and sing our closing song. And thank you all for being here today. And Those of you who are online, thank you as well for sharing your energy with us today. So let's say together, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. As light, I illumine my world. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. As love, I live empathy, understanding, and compassion. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. As power, I co-create a world of love, unity, and equality for all. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. As presence, I stand in truth in every circumstance. Wherever we are, God is. Amen. And now join us as we sing our closing song.
Love can move the world as the moon in the sky moves the sea. Love can cause the wars to cease. Love can move this world to peace. It's a tide that begins